Hey guys, I just want to start off by saying what an oxymoron of a shirt here I'm wearing. Less talk, more action. Um, Hard to really say that and be a part of that in a world where you're seeing uh, so much distraught, if you will, so much separation, war, if you will. It's tough to look out. It's tough to wake up and look at your phone and see what's going on. So. Um, Today's topic that Danielle and I are going to do is truth. What is truth? I have truth in my heart. I represent truth every day in some way in what I believe. I believe Danielle and everyone else in this world represents truth in some way too. But I also believe there to be another truth that maybe we have yet to all discover, and that is a gift. And to me, I'm here to testify to that in some way. This whiteboard has a lot on it already. I'm going to stand out of the way for a lot of it, but as we normally do for those that have watched this, I don't expect it to be many, but I have gotten some feedback, which has been good. It excites me. It kind of gives me fuel to just continue my steps forward with this. It's having the impact that I've wanted to have. As again, this has impacted Danielle and I mostly, and the people around us. So if we can continue to extend that any further, we're going to. But the way Danielle and I always start this is we have this word bank up here. Truth, again, to me right now, this is a big subject with what's going on. People are protesting. They're demanding just, it's a very tough time. It is truthfully a very tough time, and I support so much of what's going on both sides. It's hard to throw stones. I don't support death, killing, fighting, breaking in and looting. I don't support any of that, to make that clear. But I do support people making a stand for what they believe in and what they believe is right. I just think right now that there's a demand for content, and that content being truth. And it's sad. Again, who am I to teach? I don't. I want to understand people more than I want to be understood. And I keep joking with my family and my friends that listen to me that I refer to as brothers and sisters in my faith and my faith in God. But it's seek to understand, not to be understood, and I am doing so, but I find myself talking a lot. And it's weird. But these are opportunities for Danielle and I to get it out. I do talk a lot in them. We'll kind of go over this real quick. Actually, let's stop that before I go over Danielle. Truth. Let's pretend that introduction's over. I'm not going to address the camera like that or the people. I just wanted to kind of give them a little, catch them up to speed. What's going on here? We haven't done that yet. So when we think of truth, what are the words that come to mind? Don't think of anything that's on here. I think that's unfair. I just kind of wanted to put all that on here as foundational stuff. That's what I did this morning, obviously. But so what do you think of, Daniel?
Fact.
Fact? Okay.
Trust.
Okay.
God.
Okay.
Right.
Right?
Love. And light.
Light? Okay. I love it. To me, this is such a relevant topic right now. Such a relative topic. And, I think it's voice. Like, obviously we want to be heard. in some sense. How would we, let's go and just put this up here. I think fact, based off of definition, do you want to look it up for me real quick? I think fact, from what I remember, is like the definition
I
of truth.
believe you're correct.
And it's interesting as you dive into that meaning, what a word is and the meaning of a word, it kind of just all traces down to belief. It's
Speaking of that, the definition is a fact or belief.
okay. A fact.
Belief
Or-
should have been written on the word bank also, or should be. Absolute.
You want absolute? You like absolute?
Yeah, I like that.
I do too. Okay. Now, to me right now, what is truth right now? Besides the truth that we all hold in our heart, all lives matter. Today, we're waking up on a day where we continue to see this reaction in this domino effect of movement and momentum. And it's scary because when you fuel a fire, it grows. Anything that can't see that or understand that, I just don't think to be stupid. I think they're ignorant. I don't think they understand cause and effect too well. But those that do understand that they're putting fuel to a fire, those are the people that I'm upset with. I'm honestly outraged by. All lives matter. White, Indian, Hispanic, Asian, Black, those that are unknown.
Kind of goes back to the man and woman. Like, no matter who you are or what you identify as, you matter.
Amen. Amen.
Why does it matter? I mean, if anything, it just makes the world more interesting.
You might as well be the definition. And then put my words sideways to your ear. You might as well be the definition of matter.
What does matter? You. Whoever that is.
That is what's aching my heart right now. I understand to a degree, like, what I was exposed to growing up in school. I want to say the movie was, oh, here I am. The Color Purple, I think.
Okay. I remember watching that.
Correct me if I'm wrong. There was a movie that was exposed to me and my fellow peers as students that was slavery based and based off a book, if I'm not mistaken. Am I wrong?
I don't know if that's the movie that
Or it was
goes
in
with the
history
book,
class.
but it's something.
It was in history class. It was a real life situation that obviously those that are older than us, Danielle, experienced what it was like going through, having Martin Luther King Jr. to help lead a way to end racism. That's a continual battle. Why? Where is that coming from? I'm not here to point blame, but can we be honest? Can we talk? For me, it's funny. Like, I didn't have to think about this stuff until I got to school. I really didn't. Yeah, my eyes saw differences in me and people.
But you didn't think anything of it.
I honestly, the first time I had a Scantron and I had to answer one of these questions, I think I was stubborn and started answering as unknown. Because I was like, I honestly think the first time I saw it, if it wasn't for African American or black or the Hispanic, like if it wasn't for just those, I wouldn't have known who I was.
Right.
How funny is that? Like, to me, that's pretty funny. Like, I literally needed context clues to figure out who I was because nobody told me. Thank God I had that father that didn't raise me to believe that, because I had great relationships with every one of these ethnic backgrounds, or people that are of those ethnic groups, categorized as this is that person, this is that person, this is that person, who knows? This is that person, this is that person. My dad didn't do that. Go ahead.
It's funny how you say that, because I remember also being in testing and having Scantrons, and sometimes they listed white as like not Latino or of other race, and then like they didn't even use the word white, and then it said like unknown.
Right.
And I was like, I don't know. Like I did the same thing. I had no idea, because I had never been, besides school, I had never been taught that anyone was different. I mean, we were all the same. Just different family trees, different people.
Right.
One nation.
Right.
Under God.
And that's beautiful you just brought that up. Did you guys have to do the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag.
to the United States of America,
And to the republic.
for which it stands,
One nation.
under God,
Indivisible.
with liberty,
And justice.
for all.
I'm glad we remember that, by the way, because it's been a long time.
No, that's called conditioning. That's called conditioning. The sad thing is I don't want to see the system eat itself up and destroy itself. Like, because of our ignorance. Do I think that Scantrons are to blame here? Where you put little, and then, whatever, white, Hispanic, African American, literally to the point where it was like,
I mean, I had a hard enough time finding the puzzles to put my name.
I honestly I didn't know where I fit in because there were so many, Danielle. But is that a problem to know where your roots are? To know more about you?
No.
That's where I can't like throw stones at being tamed, being educated. Like that is a form of education, is it not? Like, I can't be pissed off at that, although it pisses me off that war is amongst us, racism, that we're really still fighting over the color of our skin. That's sad to me. Really, really sad to me. So, as I start this with that, all lives matter, let me get into that conversation. It's like, we need to get into our brains and understand what we're doing and not just react. Because I believe everyone here wants to express this. Then they want to see in some way better. Although I've been around an individual or individuals that have said it clear as day, I wouldn't want to be in a world that was just all good. Like, you see, there's a movie on it. There's movies on it. Shows. It's just monotonous. That's the perception of. But I think the ignorance of, not to judge that individual, but that's just somebody that's not quite understanding what order is and what good is. They're looking at it as more like controlled and like everyone's robot and, you know, puppeteers to
La La Land.
whatever, yeah. When that's, to me, like, this is real world.
I mean, that's great, but that's not
I,
truth.
Anybody that's watched a movie, exactly, Daniel. Anybody that's watched a movie, they've watched the movie The Purge, I believe it was. It's a scary movie. Anytime where shit goes out the window and people just say, screw law, screw security, screw order, we're just going to go ahead and destroy. We're going to steal. We're going to even kill. Of course there's going to be, no chance. No, we're not going to allow that. There's going to be people that aren't going to be able to resist, that aren't going to have a gun to fight back. But when you march down somebody's street and you wage war, or you perceive to wage war, of course there's going to be outrage in return. And now what do we have? We have war. For a point. A point that I believe does need to be entertained more. Through what? Education. I'm pissed off at education. And or the lack of. How long it's taken me to feel like I have a grasp of the world around me and how to navigate through it. Even my parents, they can't be faulted for it. I'm not suggesting I know more, by all means, not at all. They too are learning to navigate through this world.
Well, it's interesting how, speaking of education, textbooks, those are going to be out of date soon.
Yeah.
I don't know what, if we decide to have kids or anybody else, I don't know what the next generation of children are going to learn. Because it's going to have to start somewhere more current.
Right.
So we're not constantly going backwards and living in the past.
Well, I think that goes back to, for me, my ignorance in what goes into our public education systems, private education. That's why parents, when you have a kid, some are more mindful for where their kids get educated and how they're educated. Some can't be because of the financial side. My mom would have kept Brooklyn in the Christian school that she was in, that she loved, had it not been I think it was over $40,000 a year for her to go.
For elementary school.
Yeah.
That's college.
It was very, very intimate setting, but my mom couldn't afford that. No, not to condemn my mom. How can I? Let's look at the stats. My mom is like many of our fellow brothers and sisters in America that are trying to survive. I call them brothers and sisters and will continue to because of my faith in God, who we pledged to as kids, not even knowing, but we're talking about this God. We're exchanging money. In God we trust.
That's a good point.
The seed was being planted this entire time. I'm standing up for freedom. I'm standing up for freedom before, my uncle, who I don't and haven't spent much time around at all in the last decade, posted simple posts to remind his fellow viewers and, as he addresses his brothers and sisters, it's heathens. He acknowledges that, hey, public, you keep doing what you're doing. Our president can declare simple martial law and your bricks will be met with bullets. Is that what we want? Is that what we want? Take a look at old school riots. Take a look at the past. I know that's not what you want, but I'm saying the activists, the people that are diving in, kamikaze. Remember those missions that we were taught about? I have a hard time accepting suicide. Straight up. And I'm suggesting that's what's going on right now. within ourselves, our infrastructure. For people to be that outraged to do something right now, it's a kamikaze mission. Because I don't want to believe, no chance that they believe in hatred. They want love. They want to be placed in a position of equal. Not feeling for this minority right now that we're going to refer to. Because when you categorize things in statistics, they create a reality of numbers. Now we have this amount, that amount, this amount. I know what it is like to be the minority in Venezuela and not speak a language that is their language. And it taught me something. What a dick I've been to all the Spanish-speaking Americans, Hispanic Americans, that have come over from their country. How they're here. Maybe they were born here and their parents speak Spanish fluently and perfectly, and they haven't had to transition to English. Who wouldn't want to transition easily? I wanted to transition easily in Venezuela. If I could just speak English, which I was trying to do and pretty much did, thankfully. If it wasn't for Google Translate and the fact that the hotel that I was put into had a lot of English-speaking workers, that would basically, that's just for me. That's for any of the English-speaking, people that might come in to stay at their resort. How accommodating. But an American, me as an American, what a representative of it's my way or the highway. If you don't speak English, what a dick. What an ignorant person. I could have learned Spanish by now, easily. 10 years. I've had great teammates that were Spanish-speaking teammates. From obvious Spanish origin, being not of this country where we speak predominant English. It's mind-boggling to me right now, Danielle, the entertainment that we're giving. I can't fathom darkness anymore. Like, it's in myself. I'm not perfect. I'm battling demons daily. I feel like God has continued to deliver me and resurrect me from a self that was lost, maybe misdirected, or just not anchored, better yet, because I was well directed. So I'm grateful for that, and I have to share it. It's just something that comes within the territory. So nobody out there that's listening, and Danielle knows how much I remind you so much. Like, I am not here to sound privileged or how I have something that you don't. Like, if anything, I'm trying to share something with you that you have the right to have just as much as me and anyone else. And to me, that is this. And this is pretty freaking cool to me. In the Bible, for those that are open to it. John 8:31-32. The truth will set you free. So Jesus said to the Jews who had believed him, "If you abide in my word, you are truly my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." There's a process to this. That's a hard reality, a harsh reality. What is that? Like, what you believe or don't believe can be and or is a direct reflection to what you see.
It really sums up as in, if you believe, in the Word of God or in one nation under God. The truth will set you free.
Well, and in that, I think to follow with that, Danielle, words without action to back them, I believe, are incomplete or empty. So, we've seen it in examples of our life and talked about faith without works. And the Bible says faith without works is dead. I forget which book in the Bible that's out of. I'm not here to thump or talk about a Bible, nor am I here to suggest that that is wrong. I never liked the message that came from preachers. The imagery of it. I thought it was so much hypocrisy within. And it was sad of me to judge. That was bondage in my own self. Because anytime I'm not allowed to connect to you, or I don't feel like I'm connected to you that much, and or I'm judging you, that's the whole thing. Don't judge a book by its cover. That could be the best book, and the book that would have saved your life or gave you the key to your happiness. And the cover didn't look good. That's the whole message.
I think that sentence is a great one, words without action. To back them are, I'm sorry, what is that?
Incomplete.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know, my writing's crappy. That's why I'm going to make sure I read it. It's kind of hard, but go ahead.
Even if you're not a believer, I think it's important to take that sentence and almost think about it in a way of, if you're not thorough in communication, there's going to be gaps.
Amen. How much have we learned that?
A lot.
So, that's where I think ignorance is bliss. Again, I think I've touched on that. We have, I know, but ignorance is also what creates the illusion for your own world and or the world you want, and not so much what is. So you allow the wind to knock you down. My favorite quote, stand for something or fall for everything. And then when I started to find myself in Jesus Christ, holy frick, it's like my feet are like glued. Like I don't know what like my mind, my body, my soul. And no, like is it something where I'm sitting here up on a pedestal, pride, sharing a message? No. I'm on earth, like I'm down on the same level. Life's tough. I've had so many of my own battles, and I've shared them incrementally with you. We've shared them together. I've displayed them in front of you, and I'm learning more about them and how to conquer them. And I just want to continue to be a part of this. And I believe so do the people out there right now that are protesting or looting. The people that are stealing, I'm not going to defend them, but what are they stealing for? Opportunity. They're probably sick and tired of being sick and fucking tired. I said it, a bad word. There's people doing bad things. I've watched the TV ratings from when I was a kid, from PG to, it was PG, PG-13, and rated R. And I believe there was one higher than R, but you never saw it.
G also.
That all started getting added from what I recall.
Oh.
And I might be wrong. But yeah, I do remember just G, then PG. But it just, and then the limitations within that, the social acceptance of what PG-13 meant, what rated R, means, I mean, the limitations of just, whoop, that's where rules are changing. Our governing rules are changing constantly, so people get misdirected, they get confused. I don't blame people for getting outraged by their misdirection. Hell no. I've been outraged. That's why I've done things to escape the world. I can't condemn people for things. Like, it's wrong. I think it's so wrong and naive. Listen to the whole story before you dare to condemn somebody. Now, if somebody does something absolutely, like, come on. Of course you can say that's wrong. I'm not here to say that there's no justification or justice, I should say, in a wrongdoing. Yeah, that's wrong. We need to have justice. We have a system that's trying to create that, not illusion of, but there is gray area in our law. There's loopholes. It's flawed. We've seen it for from the day of our creation. What does that mean? From the day we've had law. I can't wait to do more diving into the way this country was built. Because I didn't pay enough attention in school, or it didn't captivate me enough to really make me aware. I want to know how we got to where we got. Right now, I see where we are, and I want to go somewhere different than where I think we're going. And I think anybody that's seeing where we're going might be a little afraid, might be a little concerned for the jeopardy of our structure. How much more can it take? We're strong. Don't get me wrong, we're strong. The U.S. Army's real strong. We as people want to fight the U.S. Army? Come on. Those people are doing their jobs. Do they want to come out here and fight their people that they're fighting for? No. But will they? I believe they will. Parents scold their children, not because they want to beat them, not because they want them to be hurt. They have to enforce something. There's a boundary.